Town board meeting. Let me gavel it to order. And with that, I'll ask us to stand and pledge our flag, which I will do right now. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you very much. And now, a moment of silence. And actually, before we do the moment of silence, I want to extend a Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, and a very happy and healthy 2021 to all of the residents of Brookhaven, from every member of this town board. I can tell you all these board members, myself, wish you the happiest. We've been through a very tough year together. We pray to God, and that's the prayer. We pray to God that 2021 is much better. It's a much better year than 2020. Thank you, and God bless all of you. We think of you all the time in our duties. You are the reason we serve. So with that, I'd ask the clerk to call the roll after the moment of silence. Okay, moment of silence. Over. Clerk, Madam Clerk, if you could call the roll, please.
Yes, Councilwoman Cartwright,
Present.
Councilwoman Bonner,
Here.
Councilman LaBelle,
Present.
Councilman LaGurcio,
Mike, you're on mute.
I'm here now.
Councilman Foley,
Here.
Mr. Panico,
Here.
Supervisor Romaine.
Present.
You have a quorum, sir.
Thank you. We have reports to the board. First, we'll take the report of revenue from the town clerk.
Yes, the report of revenue for the office of the town clerk for the month of November 2020 in the amount of $42,530.40. May I have a motion, please?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Now on this snowy day, and we just been through probably one of the worst snowstorms that we've had in a while, we're going to hear from our highway superintendent and how the men and women who serve there are doing and keeping our roads open. Mr. Highway Superintendent Dan LaSquadro.
Thank you, Mr. Supervisor. This storm has certainly posed challenges for us. Some snowstorms are easier than others. This one was very challenging. About 4 o'clock this morning, we had changed over entirely to rain from the North Shore all the way to the South Shore. And then unfortunately by 4:30 or 5, the temperatures dropped again and everything iced up, and we picked up in some areas 3 or 4 more inches of snow. So we are working diligently. We're going to continue to work throughout the day today. Some areas with heavier icing are going to require multiple applications of salt to break that material up, plow it off, reapply salt, plow it off. It's a process. Unfortunately, when you get icing like this, there is no quick solution to it. We were fortunate in the early part of the storm. The brining that we did before the storm started did prevent the early ice adhesion. But then once everything changed over to rain, it entirely changed the dynamic of the storm. We were fortunate. We only had 4 or 5 trees down townwide, even with the heavy snow and the heavy winds. We had just over 230 pieces of outside contracted equipment to supplement our about 250 pieces of town equipment. So we had close to 500 pieces of equipment out on the road, working to clear our roadways. And we are in very good shape financially for this storm. We have used some of the surplus that we had from last year's snow or lack thereof, but we still have over $1.5 million to hire that outside equipment. We have over $900,000 to purchase salt and sand materials, of which we are in very good shape right now. Our barns were full when we started the storm. And we have almost $570,000 in our overtime budget. So we are in very good shape financially for this storm. We are going to continue to work this until all the roads are clear.
Thank you. I wish you, men and women of your department, the best. Keep up. You're doing a great job. You get a lot of kudos on how quickly you're clearing the roads, considering how severe the storm was. Thank you again.
Thank you, Mr. Supervisor.
Thanks,
Thank you,
Dan.
Thank you, Dan.
Thank you, Dan.
Thank you, everyone.
Okay, thank you again. Next on our agenda, we have the communications consensus agenda. We have 2 items.
Yes, can I have a motion to accept the communication consensus agenda items?
So moved.
Second,
All those in favor?
aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Next, we have our highway consensus agenda. We have 4 items on it.
Yes, may I have a motion to accept the 4 highway agenda items, please?
So moved.
Second,
All those in favor?
aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
And then last, but before we hit resolutions, we have the consensus resolution agenda. Who is
Thank you,
handling that from the
Thank you,
board?
Mr. Supervisor. I have it today.
Okay,
I move resolution C0412 to C00429. So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Okay, and then we'll move to our resolution agenda, and we start with Dan Panico.
Thank you, Mr. Supervisor. 0662 of 2020 is to adopt the 2021 professional service provider list. So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Resolution 663, resolution dedicating town-owned land in Quorum to the town of Brookhaven's Nature Preserve System. So moved.
I'll second that.
On the motion, we always talk about my district, one of the most overdeveloped districts. This happens to fall on the border. It's on my side, but right on the border of Councilwoman Bonner's district and I. It's a 15-acre piece of land that we're dedicating to the nature preserve. John Turner came in, he's our environmental guru, and was very excited about this parcel with the trees that are on it and the various different other aspects of it. So this will be a great addition to our nature preserve. And 3rd district, putting some environmental, getting into the environmental game, which is a great thing to see. So,
15 whole acres in the 3rd district.
hey,
Good job,
it's 15 more than we had
Councilman
before, so we're gonna keep it
Mhm.
moving. So
Kevin,
Good
you're
job.
a leader. You're
I
a
have to
leader.
tell you, this is weird. Dan, you're always getting the land preservation money. This is no money. We're just dedicating it to something. So I
This
don't
is
know.
one town. This is one town. God bless you.
Nicely
So-
done, Kevin. And I'll second that.
Yes, having been moved and seconded, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Resolution 664, awarded the contract to LK McLean Associates, PC, for the project professional services, including construction, administration, and monitoring to finalize a conceptual plan and produce construction plans for the Middle Country Athletic Facility. So moved.
Second.
All
And
those in
I'll
favor?
jump in on this real quick too. I'm sorry, I'm being wordy. I got a couple of things going on. This has been long time coming. The Supervisor and I have been working on this with former legislator Tom Muratori. This is the fields that we're building on Boyle Road and Hawkins Path in Selden. This is the engineering firm will be coming in to do the design. We had to push a lot of this off because of COVID this year. We're finally have the contract in place. The design will be out there. And I'm happy to announce that this spring, the supervisor and I have talked, and we're going to be naming a portion of that park after the former legislator who passed away this year, Tom Muratori.
Absolutely.
So
Tom-
great
Tom
groundbreaking.
was a great
this
man.
spring. So,
He had a big heart. He wanted so much for his district and his constituents. He is missed, particularly at this time of year. I know it's sad for his wife, but we will remember his work, and we will name one of the fields, if not the whole complex, for Tom for his efforts. I was in the legislature with Tom for many years, and I remember him talking about this. And as soon as I came to the town, it's the one thing I wanted to work on with Kevin Laval, and it was great. Thank you,
Yeah.
Kevin, for your leadership on this. You've done a great job, and when it's done, the people of the Middle Country community of Selden will have, how many ball fields altogether?
Well, when we're completely done, it's gonna be 4 baseball fields, 2 multi-purpose fields, a ice rink, and there'll be walking trails throughout the whole facility. And it'll be a playground and bathrooms. For the senior softball league, we will have bathrooms. We've been talking about that, but we will have bathrooms for them there.
Absolutely. I know, as a senior, I know some of their problems. Anyway, thank you for your leadership on this, Kevin. This
Thank
will be a
you,
great thing
Roger.
for the
Thank you,
community
Roger.
when it's finished. And some of the fields are finished now, but when it's totally finished, it will be a wonderful thing.
It will be, it will be.
All right,
Thank
a
you.
resolution 663 having been moved and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye,
Aye.
Opposed? I'm sorry, that was actually, is that?
664.
664. Well, motion carries.
665 of 2020 is setting a public hearing on the town board's own motion to amend certain covenants and restrictions on property located in Shirley, New York. So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye,
Aye.
Opposed? Any abstentions, recusals? No. Okay.
No,
Okay. Motion carries. Thank you.
Six
Oh, that
sixty-
public hearing is January 14th, 2021 at 5:30 PM.
Thank you.
Thank you.
666 of 20 is authorizing the
Yes, yes,
supervisor,
yeah.
deputy supervisor to execute an addendum between the town of Brookhaven and Civic Plus LLC to utilize Civic Optimize. So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
aye,
Opposed? Motion carries.
667 of 20 is to authorize the settlement of Supreme Court matter Martino versus the town of Brookhaven. This is indexed at 13-21098. So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
And resolution 0608 is to authorize the Commissioner of Finance to transfer 2020 operating cash to the capital fund to fund 2021 capital projects. So moved.
second,
All those in favor?
Aye.
aye,
Opposed? Motion carries.
Resolution 669 of 2020, authorizing the supervisor, deputy supervisor to enter into an intermunicipal agreement to accept unprocessed C&D from the town of Southold. So moved.
Second.
I'll second it.
I have Mr. LaGuercio. All those in
Okay.
favor?
Aye,
aye,
Opposed? Motion carries.
Resolution 670 of 2020, award bid number 20055, collection and recycling of electronic waste, e-waste, to the lowest responsible bidder, Arrow Scrap Corporation. So moved.
Second,
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Resolution 671 of 2020 is the determination of the premises at 128 West Bartlett Road in Middle Island, New York, 11953, to be unsafe as defined by Chapter 73 pursuant to the engineer's report of Cashin, Spinelli, and Ferretti LLC, and setting a public hearing by which the owner or other persons having an interest in the premises may be heard with respect to the condition of the premises and the actions necessary to secure or remove same. So moved.
Second.
That public hearing will be held January 28th, 2021 at 2:30 PM. All those in favor?
Aye.
aye,
Opposed? Motion carries.
Resolution 0672 is authorize the Commissioner of Finance to implement Government Accounting Standards Board, GASH. Statement. GASB, I'm sorry. Standards Board GASB, yep. Statement number 84. So moved.
second,
All those in favor?
Aye.
aye,
Opposed? Motion carries.
And resolution 0673 is the appointment of PKF O'Connor Davies LLP, Albrecht, Vigiano, Zurich and Company, PC, to provide auditing and accounting services for the fiscal year ending December 31, 2020. So moved.
second,
All those in favor?
aye,
Opposed? Motion carries.
Resolution 674 of 2020, authorize the Commissioner of Finance to amend the 2020 adopted capital budget to establish a separate capital project for open space land acquisition for brush development to be funded through a budget neutral transfer. So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
aye,
Opposed? Motion carries.
resolution 675, award bid 20056, traffic signal requirements contract to the sole bidder, Pink Electric Contractors, Inc. So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Resolution 676 of 2020, authorizing the acceptance and installation of a gazebo at the South Setauket Park donated by Andrew Bagina. So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
677 of 20 is authorizing the supervisor, deputy supervisor to enter into a participation agreement between Town of Brookhaven and North Atlantic States Regional Council of Carpenters for the purpose of hiring union carpenters on an as-needed temporary, part-time, or seasonal basis. So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Resolution 678 of 2020, authorizing the supervisor, deputy supervisor to submit a grant application to the New York State Office of Parks, Recreation, and Historic Preservation for zoos, botanical gardens, and aquariums grants for programs. So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
679 of 20 is authorizing the supervisor, deputy supervisor to submit a grant application to New York State Division of Homeland Security Emergency Services Cybersecurity Grant Program for funding for cybersecurity training. So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
680 of 20 is authorizing the execution of an end-user license agreement between the Town of Brookhaven for use of the Suffolk County real property tax maps and Suffolk County ARIAS system and GIS base map. So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Resolution 0681 is to authorize the Commissioner of Finance to amend the 2020 adopted capital budget to establish dedicated appropriation accounts to record expenses related to the FEMA declared disaster tropical storm Isaias and transfer related expenditures from operating funds. So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Resolution 0682 of 2020, authorizing the change order number 1 to contract number 202-00021, Davis Park Marina Breakwater. So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Resolution 0683 of 2020 is approval of capital professional service requisition in excess of $25,000 for payment of services to be performed by LK McLean Associates PC in connection with the Rolling Oak Storage Facility. So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
And Resolution 0684 of 2020 is authorization for the supervisor, deputy supervisor to accept a grant award from the National Fish and Wildlife Foundation, NFWF, for funding the development of a restoration design for the degraded salt marshes of southern Mastic Beach, and to authorize the Commissioner of Finance to amend the 2020 capital budget in connection with the grant award. So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
685 of 20 is to the approval of capital professional service requisition in excess of $25,000 for payment of services to be performed by Nelson and Pope Engineers and Land Surveyor, PLLC, in connection with the animal shelter ADA improvements. So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Recuse.
Opposed? Yes, I have that, Mr. Gravel. Motion carries.
Supervisor.
687, Dan. Oh, no, sorry. 686, Supervisor.
686 is a resolution to amend the 2020 adopted budget for the New York State Municipal Consolidation and Efficiency Plan Grant.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
I just would say that we lost 20% of this grant. As you know, the governor cut 20% of all state funding that the town was receiving, which is regrettable. And the next is up to Dan, you're next.
Yeah, 687 of 20 is authorizing Colonial Youth and Family Services temporary use of the Town of Brookhaven's Mastic Recreation Center. It's on Herkimer in Mastic, New York. So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Resolution 688 of 2020, authorization for the town of Brookhaven to accept the first and second rounds of federal awards from the United States Department of Housing and Urban Development provided under the CARES Act, allocating additional and supplemental administration funds for its Section 8 Housing Choice Voucher Program and to amend the related budget to reflect the increase in funding. So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Resolution 689 of 2020 is to amend the resolution number 179 of 2020, which is entitled Authorization for the Supervisor or Deputy Supervisor to execute a sub-recipient agreement with Family Service League and Brighter Tomorrows, Inc., using Emergency Solutions Grant funds on behalf of the town of Brookhaven. So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Resolution 0690 is 2020 is 2020 various operating and capital budget transfers. So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Resolution 0691 of 2020, setting a public hearing to authorize the granting of a license agreement between the town of Brookhaven and the Pines Foundation for leasing a property, the Greenbelt, along Fire Island Boulevard, Fire Island Pines. So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That motion will be heard on January 14th, 2021 at 5:30 PM. Motion carries.
Great. And finally, Resolution 0692 of 2020, setting a public hearing to authorize the granting of a license agreement between the town of Brookhaven and the Pines Foundation for the leasing of property along Fire Island Boulevard and the west corner of Atlantic Walk. So moved.
Second.
That public hearing will also be heard on January 14th, 2021 at 5:30 PM. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
That ends our resolution agenda, but I understand we have a
Walk
walk-on.
on. Yes.
Yes, Supervisor.
I'll take a motion to add number 693.
Yes.
Second. I'll make that, oh, sorry, Val.
No problem.
So you're making the motion, Ms.
I made the
Curran?
motion and Councilwoman Bonner seconded.
Yes. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Motion to add.
Okay, I move the adoption of the resolution directing the Commissioner of Information Technology to add the Community Development Block Grant, which is considered CDBG census tract areas, to our publicly available GIS system. So moved.
And that's second, and that's being co-sponsored by the whole town board.
Yes, it is.
Yes.
Everyone's co-sponsoring this.
All
Thank you.
those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
On
Aye.
this motion, aye, of course. If I can just
Thank
be
you.
heard very briefly on this motion.
Sure.
First, I'd like to thank my colleagues for co-sponsoring this resolution, every colleague. The issue of environmental justice is very important to me, and it has been a topic of discussion in communities around our nation for decades. However, in these times, in 2020, a year where there has been meaningful public engagement across the country about injustices of all kinds, environmental justice has been brought to the forefront. So the development of this extra layer of mapping is a step in the right direction. It'll help the town of Brookhaven remain cognizant of the geographic regions in which there are likely to be disparities and existing or greater risk of environmental injustice. It'll also help to identify low-income communities and communities of color in Brookhaven, which are at more risk of environmental injustice, and it will be available to the public on the town website. As you all know, municipalities across the country are intentionally and affirmatively taking additional steps to address this important issue. I have always been a proponent of municipalities doing more than the bare minimum that the law requires, and that's what we're doing. I've always believed that if the municipalities have the capability to do more to help to affect the quality of lives of our constituents, we should do that. And that's what we're doing by adopting this resolution. And I thank you for that. And I thank you for the support of my colleagues. And I know that there is a lot more work that needs to be done in the areas of environmental justice and, of course, addressing racial equity within the climate crisis. And I trust that my colleagues will continue to do so in my absence, but I'm happy to be a part of this step today. Thank you.
Thank you. Also, no community should suffer injustice, environmental or otherwise. And I know as supervisor, I try hard. I hope I succeed at the end of the day in trying, as my colleagues try, and each colleague tries very hard to make sure that the communities that comprise Brookhaven are adequately represented and that there is no injustice, environmental or otherwise, that impact any of these communities. And it weighs on our mind every single day. But thank you for the resolution, and let's take a vote. We took the vote, right?
Yeah, we took the vote and
Oh, we
motion
did, good.
carries. Yes.
Okay,
Thank
so
you.
we're going to go on to public hearings, which is at 2:30 in about 3 or 4 minutes. But while we're here, let me wish our colleague, Valerie Cartwright, every success. As some people know, Valerie was elected to the state Supreme Court for a 14-year term and will start, I guess, in January 1st, and will be installed or robed. They have a robing ceremony for the judges. So I want to wish her every success during her tenure. I know she's worked hard for her constituents and for her district, and I wish her success. And if any of my colleagues want to chime in, I'm sure we all wish her well.
Well, I have to jump in, as a member of the town council class of 2013, Valerie and I came in right at the same time. So it's going to be weird not having you here, Valerie. We've been here every day together. Although your first speech, you did call me Ken. I always will remember that. You did call
I
me
remember
Ken.
that.
But a lot of people do that. I'll let you get away with it. But it's been great to work with you, Valerie, your staff and yourself. You've always maintained yourself as a great professional, and it's been great to work with you. I wish you nothing but the best on the bench, and hope to never be in your courtroom.
So I'd
Okay.
like to just echo the comments of my colleagues, because I sat next to Valerie when we were all fortunate to meet in person in the auditorium, and our offices were next door to each other. And I can honestly say that our staff members worked very collaboratively together as council districts that touched each other. And it was truly an honor to be able to work with Valerie and understand her viewpoints. And I think she hopefully appreciates some of my viewpoints as women that come from different sides of the political aisle. She opened my eyes to some things that I wasn't really aware of. And for that, I appreciate it very, very much. And I wish you nothing but success. And I echo what Councilman Laval said. I hope to never be in your courtroom. And I'm also gonna miss Noelle at various functions. She was my buddy at town functions. So I wish you all the best, Valerie. Good luck.
Let me just say, I've known Valerie longer than anybody here on this screen, even Ed, believe it or not. Valerie and I came through law school together. We were both on the Student Bar Association. Valerie was the president of the Black Law Students Association. I was the president of the Student Bar Association. We came up together in 3 years. I've always had a great deal of respect that will continue. And people watching this, I think, should realize this, especially in light of the recent presidential election. Although we may differ in our political registration, party registration, that type of spiteful rhetoric that you see in the national level and you used to see in Brookhaven, it doesn't exist. And this town board really does work together. The issues we deal with, largely land use and local municipal issues, are not political issues. In instances where we've disagreed, it's always been respectful, because that's the relationship that we have. That's a relationship you have with all of the town board members, and we have with each other. Brookhaven has come quite a long way. You've been an asset to this town board. You will be missed, and we will see you again at some point, I'm sure, at other functions, town functions. We hope and we know that you'll still be a part for so long that you live in the town of Brookhaven. And I wish you truly the best.
Hey, Valerie, I just want to say congratulations to you and your family. It's got to be an amazing journey that you're going to take on as a Supreme Court judge. You were here 7 years. You're going to be there a long time, and you're going to be viewed upon just as a person that people can really look up to. And I applaud you for that. You're a great mom, you're a great councilwoman, and good luck.
Thank you. Thank you. Supervisor, it's 2:30, but do I have a few minutes to say a few words?
Valerie,
Yes,
if
of
I could
course.
just interrupt 1 second?
Of course.
Yeah, I
Council.
just also wanted to echo all the words of my colleagues on this board. As the newest member to this board, I want to thank you because, as opposite sides of the aisle, so to speak, in some beliefs, we've always worked well together. We've always joined forces, and I appreciate everything that you've taught me being the newest member on the board. Your staff has been wonderful. My staff has always appreciated working with them and enjoyed working with them. And I wish you tremendous success. I'm sure you're going to do a fine job on the bench. And I wish you all the best and well. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Supervisor, thank you. Thank you for allowing me to just say a few words. Well, yes, this is my last town board meeting and it's a bit emotional. We have been together for the past 7 years. I say through the good times and the bad times, working really hard together to accomplish a lot here in the town of Brookhaven. But I must say that it has been an honor and a privilege to serve as the elected representative for Council District 1. I thank the community for putting their faith and trust in me for all these years. And it has been an amazing and interesting experience. I've learned so much. I've, had touched base and connected with so many community organizations. We have really made an impact within the Three Village, the Port Jefferson Station, Terryville communities, as well as all the villages within my district. Many of the things that we've accomplished on the town board, of course, I could not accomplish without all of you. I'm only one vote. I know sometimes we go to battle as to certain issues, but at the end of the day, it's about compromise. And as Councilwoman Bonner mentioned, us looking at each other's perspectives and understanding that we all come from different walks of life. We all have different experiences, and all of our experiences and all of our expertise mean something to the conversation. So thank you for respecting that and respecting my opinions. When I was elected into office, I committed myself to being open, accessible, and transparent. And I believe that I have fought to keep that going all 7 years in office. I was a brand new elected official coming in with Councilman Kevin Laval and new to Brookhaven town government. But everyone worked really hard to get me up to speed. I want to just give a special kudos to the town attorney's office because they really helped my office get up to speed on all of the issues within the town. And that's not only our town attorney, Annette Ederesto, but everyone within that department. I'd like to thank all of the other departments, heads, and all the department members that work with my office. As you all know, I'm very much on research and making sure I have every component of an issue in front of me so I can understand what I'm doing, so I can make an informed decision. I know that that is not always how everyone else functions, but I appreciate you all accepting my approach and working with me as we continue to fight for a better Brookhaven. So this is bittersweet. The fact that I am leaving here today because of the great work that we have been able to accomplish in my district as well as across the town. But I am looking forward to this new part of my life. And I do want to say it's evident, I am the first African-American to ever be elected to the town board. And I'm proud of that. And I hope that I have opened the door for other people of color in the town of Brookhaven. We talk about, especially this year, how diverse the township Brookhaven is. And we all have different backgrounds. We've been fighting against racial injustice, and we've been doing it. We've said it in open forums. And I'm happy that I have been able to set the standard to some degree on diversity from a female perspective as well as a Black perspective. So thank you again for everything that you have all done for me, the community, as well as my colleagues over these past 7 years, and continue to make an impact on the lives of others in the town of Brookhaven. Well, I will try to do that from the bench. So thank you, and thank you. And Donna Lent, thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Best of luck to you, Valerie. I'm very happy for you.
Thank you, Supervisor, for letting me say a few words.
Pleasure. Before we move to public hearings, we have one decision to make. regarding introductory local law numbers, I guess it's 16, 15,
No, this one is,
16.
no,
My
it's,
eyes are- yeah,
no, it's
15.
introductory local law 15.
Okay, and I believe, Val, you wanted to make, make that motion.
Yes. I move the resolution of adoption, amending chapter 29 entitled zoning and,
Before we do adoption, are we doing a secret on this?
I didn't, oh, yes, actually, let me see, I only have the secret, I think. Okay, so I apologize, let me rephrase. I move secret negative declaration related to the resolution of adoption, amending chapter 29 entitled zoning, redevelopment and the code of the town of Brookhaven.
I'll second that.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
And now I move for the resolution of adoption, amending chapter 29 entitled zoning, redevelopment of the code of the town of Brookhaven. So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
I just, on that motion, we did receive some letters citing some concerns related to this proposed code. I did ask the town attorney's office to take a look at all of the comments that were made and to see what adjustments could be made to the code that would allow us to be able to move forward today. Beth Riley, I don't know if she's still on the call, but she did make adjustments in response to some of the concerns raised by local civic associations.
Yes, we had a discussion just before we came online about some of those. Obviously, your civic, Three Village Civic from your district raised some concerns, Herb Moniz. We had some concerns raised by Mary Ann Johnson and APCO, and they were extensive. We are looking at all of those, and we said if there's any adjustments that need to be made, we would make them in January. But yes, we've read all of them, and we had a brief discussion about that before the start of this meeting formally.
And
So, yes,
ultimately, at the
thank
end
you,
of the
Valerie.
day, this change fully and squarely relies on the town board's decision. No other board, and it's not a fait accompli, it's not an as of right. Just because somebody comes forward with an idea doesn't mean it's going to be embraced or accepted.
No, we're not looking to promote development. We are looking to promote, in some cases, redevelopment of vacant or abandoned properties or underutilized properties that could be better utilized. But again, it requires the support of the town board. It's not, as Councilwoman Bonner said, as of right. So, but we, believe me, we've taken all those considerations into effect, and I'll be happy to speak with Mary Ann Johnson, or Dan Panico can speak with her. I'd be happy to speak with Herb Moniz or anyone from the Civic Association, including Mr. Cornrich, who is, I believe, the president. So with that,
No, you're right, Mr. Supervisor. This is a critical time, really, with COVID happening. I see it in my district. I think everybody sees it in their district. This is a good time to pass this, continue the conversation. It's something that I think we've all worked on as a board, trying to improve these blighted sites. Now we're putting pen to paper, and we could amend as we go along. I think there will be some changes to this, but I think this is a concept that we need to continue to push forward. And like I said, this is critical right now. How many businesses are going out of business right now in these communities because of COVID? So we have to continue to push forward, try to support our business community and our property owners.
it's extremely important. So many of our commercial developments have suffered during this pandemic. We've got to ensure that if they become abandoned or vacant, that they are redeveloped in accordance with the wishes of the community and to promote economic development and jobs. Very important. You're absolutely right, Councilman. Absolutely right. So we've taken a vote on, have we taken a vote on the resolution?
Yep, we're done.
Okay, so it's done business, and we go right to public hearings. Thank you so much.
Good luck, Val.
Thank you.
So we'll start with public hearing number 1, Supervisor? Okay.
Yes,
this is-
public hearing number 1, uniform traffic code, please.
Right. Uniform Traffic Code amendments. Town Attorney Annette Aresta will be providing a brief summary of today's public hearing to amend the Uniform Traffic Code. Legal notices for public hearings are published no less than 10 days, no more than 20 days in one of the legal town newspapers prior to a public hearing. My office has received the signed affidavit of publication from the newspaper.
Annette, do you want to make a list of the changes that we're making to the traffic code?
Excuse me.
Yes, Mr. Supervisor. They are as follows. Article 7, Section 26, stop and yield intersections. There's one deletion and one addition in the hamlet of Middle Island. Article 8, Section 33, parking prohibited in designated areas. There's one addition in the hamlet of Center Moriches. Article 8, Section 39, stopping in designated locations. There's one addition in the hamlet of Shirley. Thank you.
Thank you. With that, I'm going to move. Does any of the board members have any questions about uniform traffic code changes?
Motion to close?
Thank you.
All
I'll
those in
second it.
favor? I have
Aye.
Mr. Lavelle.
Okay.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion to close carries.
Motion of adoption. I move that we
I make a
adopt.
motion to adopt.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Okay, we are on to public hearing number 2.
Public hearing
And we
number
have,
2. Let's see.
Would you open it, and then when
I
you
will.
do, the town attorney's going to give us some background.
Public hearing number 2 is introductory local law 16 of 2020 to consider enacting an introductory local law amending chapter 85 entitled zoning, article 34 entitled land development standards, section 85-871 entitled illegal exterior lighting of the code of the town of Brookhaven. Legal notices for public hearings are published no less than 10 days, no more than 20 days prior to a public hearing in one of the legal town newspapers. My office has received a signed affidavit of publication from the newspaper. My office, we are awaiting a letter from Suffolk County Planning. So we've opened the hearing. We're going to hear this today, and then it will be held on the decision calendar moving forward.
Okay.
So
We've opened it. Does Annette want to
Annette?
comment on it before we adjourn it?
Yes, I have it. I have a little blurb for the board. It's very simple. Over 10 years ago, the town updated code requirements for commercial lighting. The code provided for notice to property owners so they had time to bring their sites into compliance. Another section of the code states that the non-conforming lighting must be brought into compliance within 10 years of code adoption. Since the property owners have now had over 10 years to comply, the notice requirement is outdated and should be removed from the code. This is a continuing cleanup of a code that we've been doing for the past few years.
Okay, and we're adjourning this until we get the letter from Suffolk County. Is that correct?
Yeah, we should close and hold on the decision calendar.
Okay, I'll make a motion to close this public hearing then.
Second.
all those in favor?
Aye. We'll
Opposed?
take a vote of adoption. We'll wait for the letter from Suffolk County, and at our first business meeting in January, we'll vote on this now that the public hearing has been closed.
Okay.
Okay, we are on to public hearing number 3.
Public hearing number 3 is to authorize a renewal of a franchise agreement between the town of Brookhaven and Brookhaven Town Volunteer Firefighters Museum and for the operation of a firefighters museum in Ridge, New York. Legal notices for public hearings are published no less than 10 days, no more than 20 days prior to a public hearing in one of the legal town newspapers. My office has received a signed affidavit of publication from the newspaper. Should the board render a decision, this has been deemed a secret type 2 action.
Thank you, and we'll hear from Annette Aderesto, our town attorney, on this.
Thank you,
matter.
Mr. Supervisor. The Brookhaven Town Volunteer Firefighters Museum is requesting a renewal of the franchise agreement for the operation and maintenance of a firefighters museum and memorial park on approximately 10 acres of land on the north side of Route 25, east of William Floyd Parkway at the town park in Ridge, New York. This renewal will retroactively commence November 30th, 2019, and run for a period of 25 years from that date.
Okay, do we have any questions from any board members? I'll just say the museum is a great place.
It is,
Uh,
they
it's
do a great
tremendous
job
asset
there.
To the town of Brookhaven. And I'm happy to see that we're renewing their franchise agreement. They do a great job. And they are committed. It's a great place to visit, by the way. It's in Ridge on the north side of 25. It's a great place to visit. But
Every fire department in Brookhaven has a memorial there. They run some wonderful programs. They've done a great job with restoring some buildings. You know, they have races. They do a really, really great job. And, you know, we're very supportive of our volunteer firefighters and EMS.
Do I have a,
As someone who uses it constantly, you know, there are so many departments that come in from all over Long Island that see that museum, and they're in awe of it because they don't have anything like that.
No.
Right here in Brookhaven. And, you know, they're so happy to see something like this. So thank you, board.
do I have a
I'll
motion
make
to
a motion to
close?
close.
I'll make a motion to close this public hearing.
I'll
Second.
second. it.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Sorry, Jane.
It's all right. I got a resolution of adoption to authorize, I know you're the volunteer fireman, Mike, you know, but it is in my council district. Resolution of adoption to authorize a renewal of franchise agreement between the town of Brookhaven and Brookhaven Town Volunteer Firefighters Museum for the operation of a firefighters museum in Ridge, New York. So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Okay, we are on to public hearing number 4, which I understand is going to be adjourned. So I'm going to make the motion to adjourn that to January 14th of 2021, unless
I'll
you want to
second.
open it first.
I don't have a clear answer on my notes whether or not this has been opened before.
It hasn't.
So I'm going to open it, please, so then
Okay.
we can
Whether we were
we
gonna,
can
And then
adjourn
we'll
it.
make the motion to adjourn.
Hold
We'll
on,
adjourn it
Annette
to a
is trying
date
to
certain.
speak.
we were adjourning that to January 28th.
January 28th?
I'm gonna
Yeah,
open it, Annette.
We've
I'm going to
settled it.
open it.
Donna, we've settled it.
Uh,
So we have contracts out. So I don't think we'll ever need to have this. You can open it if we need to on the 28th.
okay. So I'll take a motion to adjourn to January 28th.
I'll make
Second,
that motion.
and I'll second it.
Mr. Romaine, okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Okay,
Okay, and we're moving right along to public hearing number 5.
yes, public hearing number 5. Determination of the premises located at 38 Parkside Avenue, Miller Place, New York, to be unsafe as defined by Chapter 73 pursuant to the engineer's report of Cash and Spinelli and Ferretti LLC. The owner or other persons having an interest in the premises may be heard with respect to the condition of the premises and the actions necessary to secure or remove same. This public hearing had been adjourned from the November 19, 2020 town board meeting. Legal notices for public hearings are published no less than 10 days. So I would imagine that this had already been opened. Yes, okay.
yes.
Town clerk,
So-
it has been opened and I've actually presented it as well.
All right, so I'll just add to that, what I've already said is that if the board renders a decision, this has been deemed a sacred type 2 action.
Okay, we have Brendan Sweeney to tell us what's going on here and why it was opened in the past and what's happening now. Brendan?
Yeah, and for now, I'll do a little brief summary before I show pictures. The board has seen these pictures in the past. Conditions have slightly changed at this site in that the tree that you can see in this first picture that I'm sharing has been removed and cleaned by the owners. They are one step away right now from obtaining their permit to rehab the home. We delayed it because they had to go to the Board of Zoning Appeals. They had to do some various stages in order to be able to come into the ability to come in for an actual formal building permit. The only thing I'm awaiting from them at this point now is just a cost estimate for the work that is to be done, because that will calculate what the cost of the permit is actually going to be. So I did send notice of them yesterday that we do need that. And then once I receive that, the permit can be issued and work can begin. If you want me to present these pictures again, I'd be happy to share them for everyone. Otherwise, we have heard this and we have spoken with the attorneys for this property before.
I just have a couple of questions for the town attorney. Thank you, Brendan.
You're welcome.
Annette, are you there? Brendan, can we,
It looks like she stepped away from her desk in this exact
Okay.
moment. So I don't know if we
all
want to
right,
wait.
so
I can-
maybe Valerie and Dan as attorneys can chime in. My concern is, and I think we've experienced this with all of our council districts and houses like this that sort of languish, and banks or property owners sort of kind of dither and are not very diligent about doing the things that they need to do. I'm dealing with another one in Rocky Point. That the gentleman has renewed his demolition permit, I think for the 4th time over a year. And I have concerns for the neighbors and the community as a whole for safety on that block and the surrounding community when we have derelict houses that are easily accessible.
I just want to note before they begin that the town board building permits that we issue do have comments that state that the building permit does not supersede the authority of the town boards. Like, you know, if you guys choose to act on this, we would have the authority to still go in and do the
Okay.
demolition. The building permit doesn't stop that.
Okay.
It's just that they have the building permit to begin working.
So you're saying that we should delay this one more town board meeting, Brendan?
I'll defer to the board. I mean, like I said, the only thing I'm waiting on is a cost estimate. Once that cost estimate is obtained, they can begin working. I'm hoping that they will follow through that, and that the day that the permit's issued, they begin the work. But I obviously am not them. I cannot guarantee that.
In
Brendan,
an attempt to move this along, I will make a motion to adjourn this public hearing till January 14th, which is the first business meeting after our organization meeting in January. And by that time, Brendan, we want an update on this because we want to see this house either rehabbed or we're going to demolish it.
Absolutely.
I'll second.
All those in favor?
All right,
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
thank you.
Thank you again, Brendan, and you're up next, Brendan, also because
I
we're
am.
moving on to public hearing number 6,
I'm so sorry, this noise.
which deals with 195 Union
Yes.
Avenue in East Patchogue.
Yes, I'll open it, sir. Determination of the premises located at 195 Union Avenue, East Patchogue, New York, to be unsafe, as defined by Cash and Spinelli and Ferretti LLC. The owner or other persons having an interest in the premises may be heard with respect to the condition of the premises and the actions necessary to secure or remove same. Legal notices for public hearings are published no less than 10 days, no more than 20 days prior to a public hearing in one of the legal town newspapers. My office has received a signed affidavit publication from the newspaper, and should the board render decision, this has been deemed a secret type 2 action.
Okay, and we have Brendan Sweeney to briefly explain what's going on with this house. Brendan?
Yes. I want to note before I continue speaking that the owner is present. He has signed in to speak. So if the moderators are not aware of that, just as a heads up. 195 Union Avenue is owned by Prestige Worldwide Group LLC. They've owned it since March 28th of 2019. No mortgage was found in the title report that we did. The taxes are unpaid just for the one that just began a couple of days ago. So it's not that there's years of unpaid taxes. It's just that we only started a couple of days ago and they haven't dropped it off yet. It's not our vacant registry. Asbestos is present, and we conducted 2 inspections, one on September 4th and one on December 10th. We also did contact Prestige Worldwide at the address they have on file with us. And I want to note that on Tuesday, the 15th, so this Tuesday that just happened, I spoke with the owner, Mr. Salvatore Payne, who represents he owns the company of the LLC. He also had reached out to the law department either the same day or slightly a little earlier. I have to check my notes. His property has a rather detailed history. In fact, there was an issue at one point where he got his CO for his house. It wasn't owned by him at the time, but the subdivision was never properly filed. So as a result, when he went to go to the health department to get approval to become a 4-bedroom home, they told him that he had to get an IA system not only for his property, but also for the property of his neighbor, because the county viewed them as one lot. I'm going to defer most of the issues with him to what he has to say. I will note that I did receive from his expediter the plans for what he intends to do to the home. It's now just to return it to the state it was that's listed on the CO, which is a 2-bedroom home. And we are having a plans examiner review that as we speak at this moment. He's looking over it to confirm if the plans conform to the New York State Building Code or if there's some issues that need to be addressed. Now, in terms of this home, the building is a 40 by 48 wood frame, 2-story residential structure with a basement resting on concrete foundation, partially clad with vinyl siding and an asphalt shingle roof, and is in very poor conditions, as you can see. It appears to be, at the time, an abandoned construction project with the second floor not completed and open to the elements. Tarping, which covered the roof and areas under construction, are destroyed and hanging from the structure. The exposed wood sheathing and second-story wood framing are deteriorating. The exterior wall is open to the elements. The chimney appeared to be leaning, and if it's left unattended, could potentially collapse. The property is overgrown and there's construction debris. The engineers, when they went to the site, were unable to get access to the interior, but as you'll see in some of the later photos, they did take pictures through a front door, through the glass front door. The interior is completely gutted, and it's also exposed to the elements, as you can see by that image right there. The building is not boarded up, and the site is not secure, constituting a public safety hazard, especially due to the incomplete state of the construction of the building. Inspector Incogliato noted when he went and visited last week that as of now, conditions have not really changed since this report was done. Violations include from the 2020 Property Maintenance Code of New York State. I have chapters 1 and chapter 3, sections 101, 107, 301, 302, and 304. And from the 2020 Fire Code of New York State, I have chapter 3, sections 301 and 311. From the Code of the Town of Brookhaven, I have violations of chapters 49 and 73. Pursuant to the above definitions, the building is considered unsafe, lacks maintenance, is in an advanced state of disrepair, and unfit for human occupancy. Due to its very poor condition, rapid deterioration, and incomplete construction, the inspectors believe that this site poses a threat to the health, safety, and general welfare of the public. Based on prior mentioned inspections, the owner has not completed the construction of this house nor made the required repairs. It is thus recommended that if it is unsafe and if it cannot be reasonably repaired and construction completed to meet state and town codes in a timely manner, it should be demolished.
Okay, thank you, Brendan. Do the board have any questions about this presentation?
Supervisor, I think there's a couple speakers on the in the queue. I
Yeah.
think we can definitely hear from them. Then I will chime in.
Okay, so we'll move to speakers then. Do we have, I'll ask the clerk about speakers for this public hearing.
Annette, you would have that information.
As Neil said, there are some speakers, and I believe they are now omitted from the monitors, so the clerk will swear them in.
Please.
All right, so let me change the view because this way I can see them. You need to move, I can see your slides, Brandon, so you
Oh.
need to move them.
Yep, sure. I'll stop the share.
Okay, great. So I have Mr. Anderson. Is there anyone else on that I'm not seeing? That's all I see. Mr. Anderson, if you would please.
It's Mr. Payne, formerly known as, I apologize. I'm using someone else's computer in my office because my webcam is not working.
Got it. Okay, all right. So, okay, so can I have your full name, please?
It's Enzo Pagani, formerly known as Salvatore Pane.
All right, and your hamlet that you're from?
Patchogue.
Okay, for the record. So, sir, if you'll just raise your right hand. If you will, please swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
I do.
Thank you. You can begin. I'm going to set the clock for 5 minutes, and when your time has expired, I will stop you, okay?
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you all for letting me speak today. I really appreciate the opportunity to explain a little bit about what has transpired with this property. Since I've purchased this property, I have done everything I can to bring this back to what it originally was, which is a beautiful house when it was originally built. Upon closing on this property, this situation, my title company did not understand nor notice was that I have a C of O when I closed on the property. The house was in complete disarray. It was left abandoned under major demolition issues, squatters, the whole 9 yards. There was a dead animal in the house, which I had to have a biohazard company clean up. We did everything we had to do to get this house. We filed for a board of zoning appeals to get the extension approved that had been done. We had filed for permits multiple times, I believe 1 or 2 times. They were rejected because we needed to upgrade the water system, this cesspool system with the AI systems. I'm not familiar with these terms, I apologize. But the system that is required is a much more expensive system. I had to hire an engineering firm to design the system. I had to have soil samples done, bore samples. I've gone through all this process. We then resubmitted. The Board of Health said my permit was being denied because the town of Brookhaven issued a C of O on a property that was never closed out with a subdivision back in the 1990s. I bought this unknowing, obviously, of this situation. So they gave me an opportunity to rectify this, which was pay for an upgrade of an AI system to my next door neighbor for an additional $45,000 that I would have to pay. Soil samples, new engineering.
You know,
plans.
there's grants available. You know, there's state and county grants available for both.
For me and my neighbor?
For these sewer systems.
For me and my next door neighbor?
Because this is a county
Your next door
requirement.
neighbor can apply for it and it will be a grant, and whatever isn't covered, you can come up with the money for. But I think the county grant is at least 10,000 and the state grant is a similar amount.
I will definitely look into this, but the concern I have is that from the moment I closed till now, a year and a half has transpired. In this year and a half, now we're sitting at a board where you guys are looking to knock down my house with my investment in here. I do not want my house knocked down. I have now changed the engineering plans and the architectural design a 3rd time because the Board of Health said after me and my neighbor could not come to a deal on getting him to upgrade his system, which I offered to pay 50% of his cost. So $40,000 for my system. I offered $20,000 to his system. I cannot, or he will not accept it. He also is a member of the active military. He is in Afghanistan. Again, he's Soldier Sailors Act. I've been contacting him again and again. He's out of the country. His house.
Excuse me, sir. You live in Patchogue?
Yes.
Okay. Do you know who Legislator Colaco is?
Absolutely. Personally, yes.
You should go see him and ask about the county grant. You know
He
where he's
didn't tell you
located,
about
right
these
on Main
grants
Street.
available? This is a county initiative. He didn't offer to his services to help you with this?
I knew nothing about this grant. My bigger concern is that you guys, in my opinion, like we're at the point where you guys want to knock my house down and in
No, hold on, sir. Hold on. We'll let you speak. Mr. Sweeney, is there violations on this home?
I don't have any that were with Board and Secures and with Waste Management. If they were of any other type of violation, it was the one-stop work order that was done when Mr. Payne was trying to, secure the home so that it wouldn't deteriorate further.
Okay.
So
Continue, sir.
I will definitely look into this grant and do everything I can. My biggest fear is that at this point, I have now resubmitted again because the Board of Health told Andy Malguanera and the H2M architects who did the water system and the architect, John Nicholson, that I have to bring the house back to its original square footage and size, dimensions, and original build, and then I would not have to upgrade to this AI system and not have to upgrade my neighbor. So I spent another $6,000 to redesign the house a 3rd time, to now put it from a 4-bedroom to a 2-bedroom back to the way it was. I am in this property in the red, heavily in the red, and I'm okay with that. I can walk away, knock this house down, and just get sewer credits on the property. I'm in a position, thank God, to do that. I don't want to do that. I don't want to leave this a blight. I'm trying to do everything I can, which Andy Malguanera has now resubmitted a 3rd plan, which I'm told from Brendan was being put close to the front of the list, which is the original house's design with the original specs to bring it back to the original way so I won't have to change the septic system. And then I can just get my building permit. I have built 50 homes in Long Island, in Suffolk County over the past 15 years. I want to do the right thing by my community. I own buildings on Main Street in Patchogue. I own 36 rental properties in Patchogue Village. I was awarded the Pride of Patchogue Award for my 4 family on South Ocean Avenue. I do the right thing by my property. I want to do the right thing by Brookhaven. I just want you guys to knock my house down while I'm doing everything I can in a situation that was way above my means. I didn't know that the property wasn't subdivided in the 1980s. My title company didn't know about it. Annette Ernesto, I believe she heard about the situation. She said she's never seen a situation where a C of O was given and a subdivision was never approved. I will do anything I can. I ask you to give me the time so Brendan can get me my permit, and I promise you my men and women will be working on that property immediately.
Mr. Payne, I'm sorry, but your time is up.
Thank you.
Right.
Thank
And
you.
I would simply say the Board of Health is the county of Suffolk. You should have immediately stopped by Legislator Calarco and spoke to him about that. And you should speak to the county about the county and the state are offering sewer grant for these IA systems. All I can tell you is that the town is not tolerant of a code deficient house existing for a long period of time. We get complaints from neighbors, and it is our goal to stop that type of stuff. I understand the circumstances you say, but this cannot continue. And I'll turn it over to my colleague, Councilman Foley.
Yes, just looking at the house, I'm not an engineer, but I could tell you this house has been open to the elements for 2 years. I really don't know how you're going to build it because it's deemed unbuildable, basically. It should be demolished, but that's up to you down the road.
Councilman, not to correct you, but the engineers did state that the home is eligible for repair per Cashin, Spinelli, and Ferretti. That is in their engineers report, and it's part of the conclusions.
So then we should not be at a public hearing right now. It should be a
It's
black and white.
it's unsafe, but that it is something that is eligible for repair. It's not
So
beyond the point of repair.
This is what
No,
we're going
this
to do. Okay,
30 days.
so this is what we're going to do. This board does not like to demolish homes. We want to see you rehab it. I will work with you. We will do our Zoom call on Monday, but we're going to vote today to demolish. Well, I'm not saying we're going to vote to see if we demolish it. And then we'll work on helping you out and see if there's a solution in the future for you.
Give me the 30 days with you. That's all I ask. I've never asked for one favor. I asked this one. If I can't in 30 days, I won't even join the meeting next time. You have my word. I asked for 30 days.
Okay, Councilman Foley, do you have a motion that you'd like to make?
You have a motion to close hearing number 6.
I'll second that, Neil.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Okay.
I have a determination for public hearing number 6 on the premise located at 195 Union Avenue, East Patchogue, to be unsafe as defined by Chapter 73 of Brookhaven Town Code pursuant to the engineer's report of Cashin, Spinelli, and Ferretti LLC. So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
All right. Thank you. And we are on to public hearing number 7.
Public hearing number 7, determination of the premises located at 55 Washington Drive, Massac Beach, New York, to be unsafe as defined by Chapter 73 pursuant to the engineer's report of Cashin, Spinelli, and Ferretti LLC. The owner or the persons having an interest in the premises may be heard with respect to the condition of the premises and the actions necessary to secure or remove same. Legal notices for public hearings are published no less than 10 days and no more than 20 days prior to a public hearing in one of the legal town newspapers. My office has received a signed affidavit of publication from the newspaper. Should the board render a decision, this has been deemed a secret type 2 action.
Okay. Now we hear from Brendan Sweeney, who will tell us a little bit about 55 Washington Drive, Massac Beach. Brendan?
Yes. So 55 Washington Drive, Mastic Beach is owned by Roger Shedlowski and Mary Tortorella since August 29th of 2019. Now for a note, Roger has owned this property since 1986. Mary came into possession after the passing of her sister. We've actually dealt with these individuals at a previous property that we demolished, 150 Grand Avenue, that Miss Tortorella was able to actually demolish for us. We did have to have the hearing, but she did follow through and demolish the property herself. In terms, I believe also that Mr. Tortorella, her husband, is going to be somebody that's going to come on to speak, at least per the conversations I've had with some of the moderators. Now, in terms of this property, there is no mortgage. Taxes per the County of Suffolk, when I called them yesterday, are unpaid since the 2019-2020 tax bill, which would enable the county to take ownership after December 12th of 2022. Verified vacant, asbestos is present. There are 2 inspection dates that were conducted, one on November 2nd and one on December 10th. The only violations I was able to obtain that from our records that we have are tall grass and a litter violation. In both cases, the town performed the work, which means a lien was placed onto the property for both violations. We contacted Mr. Shedlowski. As Melinda Zaveski told me from Waste Management, she told me that the certified mail that went to his address did come back and said that it was not able to send there and there was no known forwarding address. So we attempted to contact him, but it did not succeed. We also contacted Ms. Tortorella at her address. In terms of this property, like I said, we've dealt with them previously on a different property matter. I have not spoken to either individual regarding this one since we opened the process. Subject building is 30 by 46 wood frame single-story residential structure on a concrete foundation above a crawl space. Clad with asbestos shingle siding and an asphalt shingle roof and is in extremely poor condition. The roof is old and worn, and based on conditions observed at the interior, the roof is not watertight. Siding, fascia, and soffits are dilapidated. Gutters are broken and missing, and then at the rear, the roof structure as well as portions of the exterior walls have collapsed, leaving the building open to the elements. Property is densely overgrown, and there is miscellaneous trash in areas. The interior is also in a poor condition with trash, construction debris, and mold throughout. The ceilings have fallen due to prolonged exposure to moisture. Flooring has rotted through the crawl space. The rear portion of the building has completely collapsed, leaving it open to the elements and trespassers. Unsanitary conditions exist throughout this interior. The building is also not boarded up and the site not secure, constituting a public safety hazard, especially due to the advanced state of decay of the building. And per Inspector Incogliato, the conditions have not changed since Cashin did its report. In terms of violations from the 2020 Property Maintenance Code of New York State, I have Chapter 1, Sections 101 and 107, and Chapter 3, Sections 301, 302, and 304. From the 2020 Fire Code of New York State, I have violations of Chapter 3, Sections 301 and 311. And from the Code of the Town of Brookhaven, I have violations of Chapters 49 and 73. Pursuant to the above definitions, the building is considered unsafe, lacks maintenance, is in an advanced state of disrepair, unsanitary, and unfit for human occupancy. Due to its extremely poor condition and rapid deterioration, the engineers and inspector believe this site poses a threat to the health, safety, and general welfare of the public. Based on the prior mentioned inspections, the owner has not corrected existing defects nor made required repairs to the structure. Due to dilapidated and unsafe condition of the building, the rate of deterioration from lack of maintenance, and numerous violations of state and town codes, it is CSF's recommendation the structure be demolished.
Okay, thank you. Questions from board? No questions from the board members? Do we have any speakers on this? No speakers.
What,
Brandon, I
Mr.
thought there was
Supervisor,
a
I'm sorry.
speaker.
We do have speakers. I just
We
couldn't.
do.
Okay.
Up there, sorry. Monitors, please let the speakers in and the clerk will.
They're in. I see them right there. They're in.
Okay, so let the
Hello.
speakers, let's
It's,
swear them
Mr.
in and let them give testimony.
Okay, so I just want to be sure, is it one or both of you speaking? Mr.
Yes.
Todd-
Mary Elizabeth.
Yes, both of us. Just
Both, okay, so will you both please raise your right hand? Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
yes.
Yes.
All right, so I'm gonna actually for once give you your choice. Who's gonna speak first? So I
I'll
can.
start.
All right, I'm gonna start your clock. You'll have 5 minutes. Go ahead.
Okay, thank you. In regards to this property, as Mr. Sweeney said, it was mostly owned by Roger Shedlowski. Roger Shedlowski is being housed by New York State. is paying for his housing. I would hope that you would contact him at the correct address as opposed to putting the entire bill on me. Because
He's the one that destroyed the
he's the
house.
one that destroyed the house. I keep cleaning up his messes and it's getting very, very costly. So I would like to know if you would serve him because you know where he is. I also want to know if the water's been turned off at the residence and if the electric has been turned off, and do you have a letter about the gas? Because I do know from 150 grand that all of those things are necessary to take the house down. In terms of fines, how much are what's the dollar amount? I didn't receive that in the letter for the fines.
Mr. Supervisor, you want me to take some of those questions?
Yes.
First of all, we don't go after people individually. These liens are placed on the tax bills. So they would go on the property tax bill. It would be on your tax bill for 2021, 2022. We don't have a full estimate yet of the demolition costs. That is done if and when the town board votes to demolish the property. And the town does not have an address for Mr.
Roger Shedlowski.
Shedlowski. That's New York State that maybe have him in housing, but we're not aware of it. We'd be happy to send any notices to him if you can share an address with us.
I was hoping you could share the address with me.
But it will, the lien goes on the real property, not on the individuals, to answer your question.
Okay, because Roger is unavailable, if I was going to let the property go back to New York State because he won't sell it.
His half.
His half.
He won't sell it, yeah.
The property will not go back to New York State. The way Suffolk County Tax Act works is if people don't pay their taxes on the property, the county takes possession of the property. They file a tax deed. I don't know what are the arrears in terms of taxes, property taxes on the property?
The report that the county controller's office gave to me is that it's unpaid since 2019, 2020, which would make the county eligible after December of 2022. But I want to even note that, as you know, Supervisor, I've had
It'll take
conversations
forever.
with Comptroller Kennedy. It's even longer than that. So
I
while
know,
it
it
may be
takes forever.
eligible, it might not be taken by the county for at least another 6-7 years after that point.
Right, absolutely. So that's the way it works. We put a lien on the property.
Okay, so I understand that I have to do this regardless of Roger. I understand that.
Well,
I'm willing to do it. I just was really hoping that he could be involved in the payment because
if you, again, this will not have personal liability you. It will go on the tax bill. So if you do not have the ability to sell this, you do not have to do the demolition. The town will do it. We will assess it on your tax bill. And then if you don't pay the taxes, the town will be made whole by the county for our lien. And then eventually the county will take the vacant land. But that's your choice.
all right, thank you. Can I find out what the price is and then make a decision?
Absolutely. Keep in contact with Brendan Sweeney and Michelle Zaveski of the town, and they will eventually have those, if the town votes to demolish. We will start preparing that. We will obtain all the shutoffs for the water, electric, gas, if any, and then we will we'll get an estimate and demolish the house. Brendan, is there asbestos at this house?
Yes.
You know,
Yes.
I believe that, yeah, I believe that,
Yes.
yes, it does. And Mary, as you know, we've emailed in the past, so feel free to email me and we'll get in touch over some of that stuff. I will
Thank you.
note that as of right now, no shutoffs have been obtained. I believe, according to what I've talked with Melinda in the past, she usually requests them the same day as the board hearing or the next day. So she'll probably be doing that right now for water, electric, and natural gas.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
And finally, my last question has to do with 150 Grand,
Okay.
150 Grand Avenue. We've had plans in the building department for 2 years. We've done the soil test. We've done everything.
We got the sanitary
We did the
engineer.
sanitary engineer, similar to Mr. Anderson. And we're unable to get the permit. And they said they've never received the engineer's report from 2 years ago after the house was done. And Pansner, who did it, also called me for the engineer's report and was
Can I-
not able to obtain it. I think we spoke about this in September.
Can I just interrupt you a second, please? I'm sorry, because the conversation about another property really is not germane to this.
No,
public
it's not
hearing.
germane to this.
Can I
So
public
I
just
do
say,
hearing.
not
Mary, if
want
you-
to
This
mix
piece of
it.
property, if you have
Yeah, Mary,
another
you can
complaint
email me about that. one.
Thank
Well,
you.
you could send that also to Brendan, because believe it or not, he's multi-talented. He also works in the building department, helping people get their permits.
Thank
So
you.
Yeah,
There's the guy
I'll
you
look,
wanna
Mary,
deal
I
with.
will look into who is handling it in
Thank you.
planning, because you are building a new home, so it does have to go to the planning division as well. So I'll
Right.
talk to the planning division, I'll talk to building, I'll pass the engineer's
Thank
report
you.
we did
Thank
for
you,
that
Brandon.
property.
I want to do
handle
it for the neighbors, for the neighborhood.
Yeah, we want to keep the
I
neighborhood
mean,
unified.
it's a long time. Thank you very
All
much.
right.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Councilman Panico, this is in your district. What is your preference?
I will make a motion to close public hearing number 7 of December 17, 2020.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion to close carries.
And I have a resolution of adoption determining the premises at 55 Washington Drive, Mastic Beach, New York to be unsafe as defined by Chapter 73 pursuant to the engineer's report of Cashin, Spinelli, and Ferretti LLC. So moved.
I'll
Second.
second that.
All those in favor? Ms.
Aye.
Frymark?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you.
Okay, we are on to public hearing number 8, and my understanding is that this public hearing is going to be adjourned to January 28th.
Yeah, this
It is,
this one's going
Supervisor.
to be adjourned. Title companies are extremely busy. Our town attorney, Annette Adereso, was very diligent in ordering, but it's just an indication of how active the real estate market is. You can ask Councilman Lavelle about that as well. So we're probably going to get the title back sometime in January, and then we'll have the hearing.
So
That's
I
exactly what
can,
Councilman Panico said, yes.
I would like to open the hearing so we can
Okay.
adjourn it to a date certain.
Let's do that.
Public hearing number 8, determination of the premises located at 9 Clark Street, Mastic, New York, to be unsafe as defined by Chapter 73 pursuant to the engineer's report of Cashin, Spinelli, and Ferretti LLC. The owner or other persons having an interest in the premises may be heard with respect to the condition of the premises and the actions necessary to secure or remove same. Legal notices for public hearings are published no less than 10 days and no more than 20 days prior to a public hearing on one of the legal town newspapers. My office has received a signed affidavit of publication from the newspaper. And should the board render its decision, this has been deemed a secret type 2 action. So I will take a motion to adjourn this public hearing to January 28th, 2021 at 2:30 PM from you, Mr. Panico,
Yes, please. Thank you.
and seconded by
I'll second it.
Mr. Romaine. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you.
Okay, that actually ends the business portion of this meeting. I want to wish everyone a happy holiday, a Merry Christmas. If you're celebrating Hanukkah, God bless you. And let's look forward to a new and happy, healthy new year. And the great thing is I will see most of you because you guys work around the clock and, you know, it's always good to see you in town hall these days. But to everyone out there, God bless you. May this holiday be a happy one for all. And with that, I'll make a motion to adjourn this meeting.
I'll
Second.
second.
Mr. Panico, second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
We stand adjourned. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.